14 psychological tricks for that person to become obsessed with you, miss you and want to see you. Stoicism. Ever wanted someone to think about you constantly, to miss you deeply, and to feel that irresistible pull to see you? Today, we're diving into exactly how to make that happen. And don't worry, this isn't about playing desperate mind games. It's all about timeless wisdom mixed with the power of psychology. In this video, I'll share 14 psychological tricks that tap into how our minds work, so that the person you long for starts feeling just as drawn to you, even obsessed with you. By the end, I'll reveal the core keys to making these insights a reality, so be sure to watch closely. Any one of these tips could be what transforms everything for you. To prepare, I've brought together proven psychological studies and Stoic principles that can help you become someone unforgettable. With this approach, you'll be the kind of person others seek, a rare treasure in a world full of distractions. Stop chasing and overextending, and instead, embrace your own worth and uniqueness. After all, true attraction is about valuing yourself first. And before we dive in, if you enjoy content that blends practical psychology with timeless wisdom, make sure to subscribe to Stoic in Your Life and hit the notification bell. Ready? Let's get started. Tip number 1. Prioritize face-to-face encounters. Ever wondered how to make someone genuinely miss you and desire your presence? Let's talk about a powerful but often overlooked tactic, prioritizing face-to-face encounters. In a world where digital connections have become our daily norm, we've lost sight of the depth that in-person interactions can bring to relationships. Rather than relying on screens, taking time for face-to-face moments can make you stand out and be unforgettable. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This reminds us that real connections are built on presence and attention. When you share in-person moments, you're offering an experience that engages more senses than any message ever could. The warmth of a handshake, the tone of laughter, or the shared silence over a cup of coffee create memories that linger in the mind long after the moment has passed. There's a richness in those interactions that screens simply cannot replicate. In fact, studies show that face-to-face interactions release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, making people feel more connected and emotionally attached. When someone misses you, it's often these in-person memories they long to recreate. Think about the way our world today can make even deep connections feel distant. Most of us are always within arm's reach of our phones, yet we can feel worlds apart from one another. By showing up in person, you're expressing that you value time together more than convenience. And this sends a powerful message. You're someone who values real human connection. This unique approach isn't about playing hard to get, but about being selective with your presence. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, so cultivate the kind of presence that leaves a lasting impression. In practical terms, this doesn't mean you need to organize extravagant meetups. Simple, authentic interactions can have the greatest impact. A walk in the park, a spontaneous coffee break, or just a few moments of undistracted listening can speak volumes. You create a distinct memory when you focus on them without the constant distraction of a screen, and this genuine connection can become the foundation they crave when you're not around. Making an effort to prioritize these face-to-face moments can have a significant effect, not only on how others feel about you, but also on how you perceive yourself. You're conveying that you're someone who invests in meaningful connections, not superficial interactions. In a society where people often feel unseen and undervalued, this quality makes you memorable. So, be the exception. Be the person who brings warmth and depth to your connections. Tip number 2. Emotional independence. When it comes to attraction and creating a deep connection, emotional independence is key, a quality that's all about being grounded, self-assured, and enjoying your own life. Emotional independence doesn't mean pushing people away or being emotionally distant. Rather, it's about having a rich inner life that draws people in naturally. Have you ever noticed that the most captivating people are often those who have something going on for themselves, who radiate a quiet confidence and aren't constantly seeking validation? That's what emotional independence offers, a natural magnetism that comes from enjoying who you are and not needing someone else to fill any gaps. Stoic philosophy has long supported this idea, with Epictetus famously stating, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This mindset is empowering because it shows that the only control we truly have is over ourselves, our thoughts, actions, and inner peace. By developing a strong sense of self, you become the kind of person others want to be around, someone who adds value to any relationship because you're not relying on them for fulfillment. Picture this. You're on a date with someone who spends most of the evening looking to you for reassurance. They need your constant attention and affirmation, perhaps frequently checking their phone for messages or approval from others. Compare that to someone who confidently shares their interests, hobbies, and passions, someone who isn't in a rush to fill every silence because they're comfortable in their own skin. Who would leave a lasting impression? Emotional independence doesn't just make you more attractive, it helps you build deeper, more meaningful relationships by letting the other person know that you're whole on your own. In modern life, many people get swept into a cycle of over-relying on their partner or friends for happiness, but this can lead to tension, dependency, and even resentment over time. Real independence frees you from this neediness, allowing you to embrace your life and relationships without the fear of losing yourself in them. Instead of being a person who is overly available or emotionally reliant, you become someone whose presence feels like a gift, not a need. In fact, a study from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that emotionally independent people are seen as more attractive and experience more fulfilling relationships, a direct result of being less affected by external pressures. So, the next time you find yourself reaching out for reassurance or feeling lost without constant contact, ask yourself this: how can I cultivate a life so full that it doesn't rely on anyone else's approval? This doesn't mean isolating yourself or avoiding connection. It's about having a solid foundation so you can share yourself without giving up your identity. Developing emotional independence is one of the most profound gifts you can give to yourself and to those around you, because it reflects confidence, peace, and a life driven by purpose rather than need. One powerful way to build this independence is by focusing on things you love, whether it's a hobby, a career goal, or a passion project. When you're actively engaged in your life, you bring a richness and depth to your relationships, one that's built on shared experiences and growth rather than dependency. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. In other words, how you think shapes how you feel and ultimately influences the connections you create. So, if you want someone to miss you, think about how you're presenting yourself. Are you someone whose life is interesting, fulfilling, and self-contained? Are you bringing a sense of wholeness to the table? By being emotionally independent, you not only attract people naturally, but also create a healthy dynamic where the relationship can grow without feeling weighed down by neediness or dependency. Ask yourself, how can I keep growing, learning, and building myself up so that I'm always adding something valuable to my relationships? The true lesson here is that love, connection, and desire flourish when both people feel free, self-sufficient, and genuinely whole on their own. So, embrace the journey of cultivating a rich, independent life, and you'll not only feel happier and more fulfilled, but you'll also draw people to you in a way that feels effortless and genuine. Tip number 3: patience in love. In a world where instant gratification is the norm, we've come to expect love to work the same way, quick, intense, and all-consuming. But have you ever wondered why relationships that develop slowly often seem to last longer and feel more fulfilling? As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart," which can be expanded to mean that appreciation and depth in relationships often come with time. Patience in love isn't about passively waiting, but about actively choosing to get to know someone, understanding their complexities, and not rushing into things for the sake of immediate satisfaction. Imagine meeting someone who makes your heart skip a beat. It's easy to let excitement lead you into quick, superficial connections, but have you asked yourself what you truly want out of this relationship? Do you seek something that will grow over time, or are you just looking for a quick spark? Taking time to truly understand someone is the essence of creating a meaningful bond. Just as you would tend to a garden with care, watering and nurturing it without expecting instant blooms, love also requires us to allow for space and growth. The famous psychologist Carl Jung said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." This transformation takes time. It requires patience to see each other's true selves and build something authentic. Rushing often leads us to overlook red flags or misunderstand the other person's values and dreams, setting us up for disappointment. So next time you're in the early stages of a relationship, try to resist the urge to fast-track the connection. Ask yourself, what do I want to learn about this person? What experiences do I hope to share with them over time? Patience also reveals if your values align, which is fundamental to lasting love. When we let things unfold naturally, we're more likely to discover shared goals and dreams, creating a solid foundation that can withstand the inevitable ups and downs. Patience helps us to avoid falling for an idealized version of someone because it allows time for the reality of who they are to show through. When you rush, it's easy to miss these details, but with patience you learn to appreciate them, fostering a connection that feels genuine and enduring. The lesson here is simple yet profound. Be willing to invest time to truly know the person in front of you, because a deep, lasting love often grows quietly over time. So, are you willing to slow down and allow love the space it needs to flourish? Tip number 4, the connection bubble. Have you ever felt so deeply connected with someone that the rest of the world seemed to fade away? In those moments, it's as if you and the other person are in a private connection bubble, where all distractions vanish and a sense of warmth and trust takes over. This is a powerful psychological state that Stoics and modern psychologists alike recognize as crucial for creating lasting bonds. In today's world, however, where screens and notifications often get in the way, building such a connection might feel like a lost art. Yet it's precisely in these moments, face to face, that the most meaningful relationships are forged. As Marcus Aurelius once advised, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." This quote resonates here, reminding us to put aside superficialities and instead show up authentically, free from distractions, to truly connect with those who matter. Creating a connection bubble isn't about grand gestures or dazzling words. It's about giving your undivided attention and inviting the other person to do the same. It's about presence, where you're not checking your phone or lost in your thoughts but focused fully on the person with you. This simple yet profound shift can leave a lasting impression because, in a world of constant noise, a moment of true attention feels like a treasure. Just think, how often do we truly listen without thinking about what we're going to say next? When was the last time you felt genuinely seen or truly saw someone? These questions bring us to the importance of shared, undistracted time that allows two people to fully experience one another. For when we're truly present, we allow a deeper connection to grow, one that feels more valuable because it's rare and authentic. In modern life, where most interactions happen through screens and quick messages, creating these in-person connections can be a challenge. Yet that's also what makes it so powerful and desirable. When you're able to make someone feel like they're the only person in the room, it leaves a lasting impact. It's as if you're providing a safe space for them to be themselves, where there's no pressure, only understanding and mutual appreciation. Such a connection can turn an ordinary coffee date into a memory they'll carry, longing to experience it again. Psychologists even say that face-to-face interactions release oxytocin, known as the bonding hormone, which is absent in digital communication. This neurochemical response creates a sense of comfort and attachment, making the person feel connected to you on a deeper level. So, if you want to create a lasting impression, consider investing in these real moments over more texts or endless scrolling. Imagine what happens when you consistently create these connection bubbles with someone. The relationship builds a foundation of trust, intimacy, and emotional resonance. This feeling of exclusivity and warmth becomes addictive in the best way, as the other person comes to associate your presence with peace, clarity, and attention. In fact, as Epictetus noted, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This simple Stoic advice emphasizes the power of listening and being genuinely present, traits that deepen relationships far beyond words. By listening and being fully attentive, you're showing that you value the person, which in turn makes them feel significant. People crave this kind of presence because it's so rare in our distraction-driven lives. So, how can you cultivate this connection bubble in your relationships? It starts with putting away distractions, quieting your mind, and focusing on the moment at hand. It's about being willing to see and be seen, without worrying about the impression you're making or the next thing you'll say. These bubbles are built on trust and the kind of authenticity that makes both people feel truly valued. When you leave behind the urge to control or impress, you create space for something far more meaningful, a bond that speaks volumes in its simplicity. The lesson here is clear. If you want to be remembered, make others feel valued by giving them your full, undivided attention. In a world where attention is fragmented and time feels rushed, being present becomes an act of generosity and respect that few can resist, leaving them eager for the next moment they'll get to share it with you. Tip number 5. The power of silence. Silence has a subtle but powerful allure, especially in a world constantly buzzing with noise and distractions. Have you ever felt the urge to fill every quiet moment in a conversation, fearing that silence might make things awkward or imply disinterest? Yet, silence can create mystery, a sense of depth, and a rare opportunity to connect on a different level. The Stoics understood this well, often advocating for a balance between words and silence. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Silence is safer than speech," reminding us that silence, when used wisely, can speak louder than words. This kind of silence is not about withdrawal or avoidance, but about allowing space for reflection, intrigue, and a kind of magnetism that naturally draws people in. In relationships, whether budding or established, silence can become a tool that encourages others to lean in, to wonder, and ultimately to appreciate your presence more deeply. Think about how often we rush to reply in conversations, fearing that a pause might signal weakness or a lack of knowledge. But when you embrace silence intentionally, it can create a powerful effect. It's like that moment in a movie when the music drops, and you're holding your breath, waiting to see what happens next. Silence draws attention. Imagine someone you're interested in spending time with. What would leave a deeper impact? Would it be filling every moment with words or allowing pauses where both of you can simply be present, taking in the shared moment without pressure? Silence invites thoughtfulness. It lets the other person know that you're not desperate for constant validation or affirmation. Instead, it shows self-assurance, maturity, and even mystery, qualities that can make you far more intriguing than words ever could. In today's world where instant messaging and constant notifications pull us into endless interactions, silence has become rare, almost a luxury. Think of silence as a reset button. When you're with someone and choose to remain silent for a moment, it's like giving both of you permission to breathe, to reflect, and to truly see each other beyond words. This approach can be especially valuable in deepening relationships, as it allows space for each person to process their thoughts and emotions. Silence can also show respect, signaling that you're present without needing to control the conversation. As Leonardo da Vinci once said, "Nothing strengthens authority so much as silence." When you're silent, you're communicating that you're grounded and at ease, not driven by the urge to prove yourself or impress others. The beauty of silence is that it doesn't need to shout to be heard. Consider how silence works in relationships that truly matter. There's comfort in being able to share silence with someone, knowing that you don't have to entertain or fill every moment. This comfort is a sign of genuine connection, the kind that doesn't rely on words to feel complete. Reflecting on this can make us ask ourselves, how often do we allow silence in our interactions? And what message does it send when we do? Are we confident enough to let silence speak for us? Or do we feel pressured to constantly speak and reassure? Practicing the power of silence can change how others perceive you. They'll see you as someone with a quiet strength, someone whose presence holds weight without needing to make a sound. When used mindfully, silence becomes an invitation for the other person to engage more deeply, to notice the subtleties of your personality, and to feel drawn to you in a way that's both genuine and lasting. The lesson here is to use silence with intention. It doesn't mean withdrawing or being unresponsive, but rather allowing space for others to process and feel comfortable with you without the constant push of conversation. Silence, when balanced well, offers a subtle but profound way to connect, making the moments of speech all the more meaningful and cherished. So next time you're tempted to fill a pause, ask yourself, can I let silence do the talking here? Could this moment of stillness build a deeper connection? In the end, silence is more than the absence of sound. It's the presence of potential, a space where real connection can grow. Embracing this balance will not only make you more memorable, but will also allow your relationships to flourish with authenticity and respect. Thank you for joining us in today's video. Before we dive into the next segment, I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude for having you here as part of our community. Feel free to share your story or any thoughts you have. If you're new, just comment, "I am a newbie," or if you've been with us for a while, type, "I am Stoic." Your engagement not only shows your presence but also brings us immense motivation. So, shall we continue this journey together? Tip number 6. Authenticity. Authenticity is a powerful yet often underrated quality, especially in today's world where so much seems filtered and curated. Being authentic means presenting yourself as you truly are, without pretending, without masks, and without feeling the need to conform to anyone else's expectations. But what does it really mean to be authentic? And why does it have such a strong effect on others? Authenticity isn't about being perfect or saying what others want to hear. It's about embracing your real self with all your strengths and flaws, and having the confidence to share that openly. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius advised, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." In other words, there's no need to chase approval by pretending to be someone you're not. People are drawn to the real you, not the version you think they want. Have you ever been around someone who was unapologetically themselves? Their confidence and self-acceptance can be contagious, inspiring those around them to feel comfortable being themselves as well. When it comes to relationships, authenticity is key to building trust and forming a genuine connection. Many people feel pressured to impress or adapt to others' standards, thinking that they need to be more to be liked. But the reality is, the more you try to shape yourself around others' expectations, the less attractive you become. People can sense when someone is being genuine, and that honesty naturally draws them closer. Imagine you're on a date. Would you be more intrigued by someone who shares their true thoughts, even if they're a bit quirky or different, or by someone who simply agrees with everything you say to avoid disagreement? Being honest about who you are shows that you're secure in yourself, and that sense of security is deeply attractive. Authenticity, however, doesn't mean revealing everything about yourself right away, or being brutally honest without considering others' feelings. It's about expressing your thoughts and feelings in a way that aligns with your values and respects those around you. When you're authentic, you're creating space for real connections to grow, connections that are based on who you are rather than on a persona you're maintaining. This kind of authenticity makes others feel they can trust you because they know you're showing up as you are, not as someone you think they want. If you think about it, Isn't that the foundation of lasting relationships? To be known and appreciated for who you truly are? So, how can you bring more authenticity into your interactions? Start by being mindful of when you're tempted to say something just to fit in or to impress. Instead, take a moment to consider what you genuinely think or feel. Authenticity isn't about trying to stand out. It's about being comfortable enough in your own skin to stand true. Remember, as Oscar Wilde famously said, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." This reminder encourages us to embrace our individuality, knowing that what makes us unique is often what makes us most attractive. Ultimately, authenticity invites others to connect with the real you, building bonds that are honest, resilient, and grounded in truth. So, the next time you're in a situation where you feel the need to impress, ask yourself, what would it mean to just be me in this moment? The answer might surprise you. Often, the most powerful way to win people's admiration is simply to be yourself. Tip number 7. Avoid seduction techniques. One of the most tempting traps when trying to win someone's attention or affection is the use of artificial seduction techniques. But here's the truth. Real attraction doesn't need tricks. It needs authenticity and confidence. In today's world, where we're bombarded with so-called foolproof techniques to make someone desire us, it's easy to forget that what truly draws people in is sincerity. Seduction techniques often give the illusion of connection, but usually create a hollow bond that quickly fades. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, "If you want to be loved, love." This advice reminds us that true connection is built on genuine feeling and authenticity, not on manipulation or trying to impress. Have you ever met someone who seemed charming at first but then, over time, felt artificial or shallow? The attraction fades when the foundation is based on techniques rather than a genuine connection. Relying on seduction tricks often backfires because it can make you appear insincere or desperate. People have an innate ability to sense when someone is being less than genuine, and most people will be turned off if they feel you're using pre-planned strategies. Instead of memorizing lines or following a set of moves, focus on being yourself and letting your natural personality show. Authenticity not only builds trust but also creates the kind of long-term attraction that techniques can never replicate. Let's be honest, wouldn't you rather be valued for who you truly are, rather than for a character you're temporarily playing? Using tricks may work for a while, but as soon as the act slips, the person may realize they don't truly know you, or worse, feel misled. Think about the modern dating world, where everyone's looking for something real in a sea of superficiality. When you approach relationships with genuine interest and confidence in your own worth, you stand out as someone trustworthy and grounded. People are drawn to this kind of authenticity, especially today, where so much feels staged or filtered. Authenticity is magnetic because it's refreshing and rare. It says you're not hiding, and that can be very attractive. When you show up as yourself, the other person feels free to be themselves too, creating a relaxed and honest space for a real connection to grow. And as Epictetus taught, know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. This quote serves as a reminder that understanding yourself is the first step in creating lasting connections. Knowing who you are makes it easy to share who you are with someone else, without resorting to tactics that ultimately feel forced or insincere. If you're looking to make a lasting impression, think about the qualities you want to highlight that reflect your true self. Is it your humor, your passion, your curiosity? Let those aspects shine through naturally, instead of trying to create an image of what you think someone else wants to see. Not only will this make you feel more comfortable, but it will also make the other person feel at ease, knowing they're seeing the real you. Genuine relationships are built on trust, and trust can only grow in a space where both people feel they are truly seen and accepted. So, ask yourself, do you want to spend energy keeping up an act? Or do you want to let go of the need to impress and allow a real connection to form? Ultimately, avoiding seduction techniques and focusing on authenticity lets you build a relationship on solid ground. You're showing that you don't need tricks to be interesting. Your character and integrity speak for themselves. When you bring your true self into the picture, you invite the other person to do the same, laying the foundation for a relationship rooted in respect and mutual admiration. As Oscar Wilde said, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." This wisdom reminds us that there is no need to imitate or manipulate to be attractive. So, next time you're tempted to use a line or follow some rule, consider this. By being genuine, you'll not only make a deeper impact, but also make it clear that you respect both yourself and the other person enough to show up as the real you. Tip number 8. Communicate freedom. Communicating freedom within a relationship can be one of the most powerful ways to deepen connection, foster trust, and inspire a sense of mutual respect and desire. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that closeness in a relationship means constant availability, seeking reassurance, or always being around. Yet, true attraction grows in the space created by a healthy balance of togetherness and independence. When you communicate freedom, you're saying, "I value you enough to give you space to be yourself, and I value myself enough to maintain my own interests and pursuits." As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This insight speaks to the wisdom of self-assurance, trusting that you don't need to impress others constantly or be present at every moment to hold their affection. Think of relationships like a dance. You have moments of closeness where you're connected, in sync, and enjoying each other's presence. But then there are moments when you step back, allowing each person to have their own rhythm, their own space, and ultimately their own independence. Have you ever noticed that people who seem secure and independent, who aren't always seeking attention or approval, often appear more attractive? This is because they exude self-confidence and don't cling to others for validation. So how does this idea of freedom play out in modern life, where social media and instant messaging make it so easy to stay constantly in touch? Giving freedom might look like not expecting an immediate reply to a text, encouraging each other to have solo pursuits, or simply respecting time apart without feeling insecure. In a world that often promotes constant availability, being able to say, "I'm here for you, but I don't need to be here every second," can be deeply refreshing and attractive. Letting go of the need for control allows your partner to genuinely miss you and long for your company. Giving freedom can be as simple as allowing someone to maintain their hobbies, spend time with friends, or pursue goals without feeling pressured to prioritize the relationship constantly. It's like how the best friendships work. You may not speak every day, but when you do connect, it's meaningful, appreciated, and free from expectations. In relationships, this creates an aura of mystery and respect, allowing both people to grow individually while staying connected. People often crave freedom because it aligns with their need for individuality and self-expression, which brings us back to Epictetus's idea that if we constantly seek to please, we lose a part of ourselves. Instead, by granting freedom, you cultivate a relationship based on mutual trust and admiration. When you give someone freedom, it's not about showing a lack of interest or distance. Rather, it's about building a connection that doesn't depend on being constantly on or available. This freedom says, "I trust you and us enough to know that time apart will only make our connection stronger." This approach to relationships creates a sense of calm and stability, reducing insecurities and allowing genuine appreciation to flourish. Do you feel that your relationships allow you to maintain your freedom? Or do you feel weighed down by the constant need to be present? It's a good question to consider, as it can reveal how balanced and authentic a connection really is. When people are given space, they are free to bring the best of themselves to the relationship, creating a bond that's both flexible and resilient. In closing, the lesson here is clear. The more you communicate freedom within a relationship, the more you cultivate mutual respect, trust, and a genuine sense of appreciation. As the saying goes, if you love someone, set them free. By releasing the need to hold on tightly, you allow both yourself and the other person to show up fully and authentically. Next time you're tempted to check in constantly or feel anxious about time apart, Remember that sometimes the greatest sign of love is the willingness to let someone go and trust they'll come back even stronger. Freedom in relationships isn't about keeping a distance. It's about creating the space for true closeness to emerge naturally. Tip number 9. Create space for desire. Creating space for desire might seem counterintuitive in relationships, but in truth, it's one of the most effective ways to deepen connection and foster genuine longing. Often we think that being constantly available will make us indispensable to someone, yet paradoxically, always being there can dilute our presence, making us easy to take for granted. When you step back and create a bit of distance, you allow curiosity and anticipation to build, which can intensify desire in a natural, powerful way. Think about this. When something or someone is always accessible, it can lose a sense of uniqueness. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once wisely put it, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." By giving yourself and others time to miss each other, you're creating that subtle feeling of craving, which makes your presence feel more precious and appreciated. In modern life, where messages and notifications keep us constantly connected, creating space can feel like a challenge. But think about the last time you were genuinely excited to see someone after a period apart. The anticipation, the eagerness, the feeling of reconnecting. This emotional space is crucial for keeping relationships fresh and exciting. Ask yourself, does being too available make you feel closer to someone, or does it sometimes lead to boredom and routine? In giving each other time alone, you allow both sides to grow individually, to nurture their own interests and experiences, which they can then bring back to share in the relationship. This balance, in turn, makes you more interesting and attractive, as it highlights that you're someone with your own life and goals, traits that can be magnetically appealing. When you consciously step back, you're also letting the other person reflect on what you bring to their life, and this absence can be a powerful reminder of your value. It's like the old saying, "Absence makes the heart grow fonder," which is rooted in the idea that a little distance fosters appreciation. Creating space for desire isn't about manipulation. It's about recognizing that attraction thrives on balance. If you're always available, there's no room for that "I miss you" feeling to grow. So, if you want to nurture a meaningful connection, consider letting go of the urge to constantly reach out or be immediately present. Embrace the idea of stepping back just enough to let curiosity and appreciation develop naturally. By creating this space, you're not only inviting desire, but also allowing both of you to feel more secure and independent within the relationship. This approach adds a layer of respect, demonstrating that you trust each other's presence without needing constant reassurance. Are you willing to give yourself and the other person this breathing room? When you cultivate this balance, you build a deeper, more authentic connection, one that isn't reliant on constant validation but thrives in the natural ebb and flow of closeness and independence. So, next time you're tempted to fill every moment with contact, remember that allowing a little distance can do wonders for nurturing desire and deepening respect. The lesson here is clear. Sometimes the best way to grow closer is to give each other the space to miss one another. Tip number 10. Don't cling. Learning not to cling is one of the most powerful shifts you can make in any relationship, creating a foundation of respect, independence, and genuine attraction. In our natural desire to connect and be close, it's easy to fall into the habit of constantly needing to be near someone, but this often has the opposite effect of what we hope for. Clinging, or holding on too tightly, can make the other person feel trapped, diminishing the mystery and autonomy that create lasting attraction. In fact, as the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once advised, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." This reminds us to appreciate those we care for without losing ourselves or our sense of purpose in the process. Clinging often stems from a fear of losing someone, which makes us overinvest in the relationship, and ironically, this can create pressure that pushes the other person away. Think of modern relationships, constant messaging, checking social media updates, and the urge to always know where someone is or what they're doing. Are these behaviors signs of closeness or symptoms of insecurity? When we rely on someone else for validation or happiness, it places a heavy burden on the relationship, one that's hard to sustain over time. True connection doesn't require a constant need for reassurance or presence. Instead, it thrives when both people have the space to grow independently. Ask yourself, would you feel more connected to someone who's confident in their own life and interests or someone who constantly seeks affirmation from you? When you let go of clinging, you're showing a confidence that says, I value this relationship, but I also value myself and my time. This approach doesn't mean being distant or uncaring. It's about maintaining a healthy balance where both partners can feel comfortable and free. Think of it like a plant. If you water it too much, it drowns. But if you let it breathe and grow on its own, it will thrive. This balance of closeness and independence is crucial to building a relationship that's rooted in mutual respect and genuine interest rather than dependency. The Stoics understood the importance of this balance, seeing it as a form of inner strength. As Epictetus wisely said, "He who is not a slave to himself cannot be free." In other words, learning to master your own emotions is the key to creating a bond that's truly free and respectful. In practical terms, this might mean allowing time apart to pursue your own interests, not feeling the need to respond immediately to every message, or encouraging the other person to have experiences without you. This space isn't about creating distance, but rather about showing that you're secure in the relationship and don't need constant validation. So, instead of overthinking or feeling anxious when they're not around, you can focus on building yourself, creating a life that's rich and fulfilling on your own. Do you feel that you're truly able to be yourself within your relationships, or do you feel the need to cling to create closeness? Reflecting on this can reveal a lot about the kind of connection you're nurturing. Ultimately, avoiding clinging means trusting in the bond you share and letting things unfold naturally. This approach allows you to appreciate the relationship while still holding on to your individuality, which makes you more interesting and confident in the eyes of others. So, the next time you're tempted to cling, remind yourself that space is a vital part of keeping desire alive. Give the other person room to miss you and come back with their own eagerness. When you're able to balance closeness with independence, you not only strengthen the relationship, but also cultivate a love that feels freeing rather than confining. The lesson here is simple. Letting go is sometimes the best way to keep someone close. If you've made it this far, you're on the path to mastery. Drop a comment saying, "I am magnetic," to show you're committed to this journey of transformation. Stick around because the best insights are still to come. Tip number 11. Leave toxic relationships. Leaving toxic relationships can be one of the most powerful steps you take toward true self-respect, growth, and happiness. Often, we hold on to relationships out of habit, fear, or even a sense of obligation, thinking that things might change or improve. But if someone constantly brings negativity, pain, or manipulation into your life, it's essential to realize that letting go is not just an option, it's a necessity for your well-being. Stoic philosophy has long taught us the importance of focusing on what we can control, which includes our choices about who we allow into our lives. As Seneca wisely said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach. When a relationship consistently brings out the worst in you, drains your energy, or makes you question your self-worth, it's time to reassess its place in your life. Letting go of a toxic relationship is never easy, especially when emotional connections run deep. Perhaps you've invested a lot of time and energy, hoping things will eventually change. But think about this. In a world where time is precious and limited, would you rather spend your days surrounded by support and positivity, or by stress and negativity? Reflecting on this question can help you recognize that staying in a toxic relationship limits your growth, preventing you from finding relationships that truly add value to your life. This is why learning to walk away is not only a sign of strength, but also an act of self-respect. As you distance yourself from toxicity, you create space for healthier, more fulfilling connections, which can only come when you free yourself from draining situations. Consider modern social scenarios. Maybe it's a friend who constantly belittles you, a partner who manipulates or controls, or a family member who never respects boundaries. These relationships can take a toll on both your mental and physical health, impacting your happiness and even your sense of self. Studies have shown that toxic relationships can contribute to increased stress, depression, and anxiety. So, ask yourself, does this relationship bring out the best in me, or does it diminish my sense of joy and confidence? When you begin to see your relationships as environments that should support your well-being and growth, it becomes clearer which ones you need to let go of. Leaving a toxic relationship is not about anger or resentment. It's about prioritizing your well-being and choosing to live in alignment with your values. It's an opportunity to set boundaries that reflect your self-worth, to protect your mental health, and to allow positivity and support to enter your life. You're not obligated to keep toxic people around simply because they've been in your life for a long time. Ending such relationships isn't easy, but it's essential if you want to create a life where you can thrive. Are you willing to release what no longer serves you so that you can open up to healthier connections? In the end, the lesson here is simple, yet profound. You deserve relationships that uplift and support you, not ones that drain and undermine you. By leaving toxic relationships, you're setting a standard for how you deserve to be treated, which is something that every person has the right to claim. Tip number 12. Inspire with positivity. Inspiring with positivity is one of the most powerful ways to make a lasting impression and foster a meaningful connection with others. Positivity doesn't mean ignoring life's challenges or wearing a fake smile. It's about adopting a mindset that allows you to see the brighter side of situations and approach problems with resilience and hope. Positivity has a magnetic quality. People naturally gravitate toward those who uplift them, who give them a sense of optimism, especially in a world that often feels full of pressure and negativity. Imagine someone who is always critical, focusing on what's wrong, or worse, bringing others down with their attitude. Now contrast that with someone who sees potential, who can laugh even in challenging moments, and who is willing to share joy and gratitude. Which type of person would you feel drawn to? Positivity doesn't just make you more approachable, it makes you memorable. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, reminding us that our inner mindset shapes the outer reality we experience and project to others. But how does positivity look in everyday life, and how can you make it a genuine part of who you are? It can start with small acts, like offering encouragement, showing gratitude, or even shifting a negative conversation toward solutions rather than complaints. People feel valued and respected when they're around someone who brings positive energy without judgment or criticism. Take a moment to think about a time when someone's positive attitude left a mark on you. Was it the friend who cheered you on despite the odds? Or perhaps a coworker who maintained a calm demeanor in a stressful situation? That kind of positivity doesn't just inspire, it stays with us, reminding us of how powerful a hopeful attitude can be. This mindset not only enhances your relationships, but also contributes to your own peace of mind and resilience, building a foundation of trust and respect that others can rely on. Positivity is infectious. It's like lighting a candle in a dark room. Even a small flame makes a difference, and often it encourages others to bring their own light forward. When you approach life with positivity, you're not pretending everything is perfect. You're choosing to focus on what you can control and accept what you cannot, a principle rooted deeply in Stoic philosophy. Seneca put it best when he said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." Embracing positivity doesn't mean ignoring reality. It's about choosing an outlook that empowers rather than depletes, enabling you to handle challenges with grace and courage. So how can you make positivity a part of your daily life? Start by practicing gratitude, noticing the good in your life, no matter how small. Show kindness to others, and be the person who sees potential and possibility, even in tough times. When you bring this attitude into your relationships, you invite others to experience a safe, uplifting space with you, one that feels refreshing in a world often focused on negativity. And here's the real takeaway. By inspiring with positivity, you don't just create attraction. You create a lasting connection built on encouragement, strength, and optimism. Next time you're faced with a choice to complain or be grateful, ask yourself, which path will leave a lasting impact on those around you? Choose positivity, and you'll find that it transforms not only how others see you, but also how you see yourself. Tip number 13. Don't rush to fall in love. Rushing into love can be one of the biggest mistakes we make in relationships, leading to misunderstandings, disappointment, and sometimes even heartbreak. The desire to find a meaningful connection is natural, especially when loneliness or excitement clouds our judgment. But wisdom lies in patience. Falling in love too quickly often means idealizing someone before truly knowing them, and that can cause you to miss important red flags or simply overlook aspects of who they really are. As Marcus Aurelius once advised, take the time to examine yourself and your thoughts, for only with patience can we avoid regrets. This insight reminds us that love, like all valuable things, grows and deepens with time and genuine understanding. Have you ever wondered why relationships that develop slowly, built on small but steady acts of trust and understanding, often seem to last longer? When you rush, you skip over these foundational moments, diving into deep emotions that haven't yet had the time to grow roots. Real love isn't about sweeping gestures or instant chemistry alone. It's about shared values, mutual respect, and a true understanding of each other's dreams and fears. In today's world, where dating apps and instant messaging create a fast-paced environment, it's easy to feel pressured to rush, to feel an intense connection quickly, and to make assumptions based on first impressions. But pause and think. Would you rather dive into a relationship only to realize later that it's not what you thought? Or would you rather build something steady and lasting, grounded in real compatibility? Giving yourself time to see if your values align, if your goals complement each other, and if your personalities truly fit, can save you from future heartbreak and disappointment. Stoic philosophy teaches us the importance of remaining in control of our emotions, especially in love, where it's so easy to be led astray. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This means understanding who you are and what you want before allowing yourself to become deeply attached. Instead of being swept away by emotions, let yourself slowly connect with the other person over time, letting them see who you are piece by piece. This approach not only strengthens trust, but also builds a bond that can withstand life's inevitable ups and downs, as both of you know you've made a choice based on knowledge, not impulse. The beauty of not rushing is that it allows for true intimacy to grow at its own pace. In every interaction, there's space to uncover new things about each other, allowing your feelings to evolve naturally without forcing them. When love grows gradually, it becomes more than just a feeling. It turns into a deep commitment built on mutual appreciation and shared experiences. Ask yourself, how many times have you felt an initial spark, only to see it fade when faced with the reality of day-to-day life? True love can withstand this reality because it isn't about the thrill of the moment, but about building a foundation of respect, understanding, and shared purpose over time. So next time you feel that initial excitement, take a step back, allow yourself to enjoy the present without pushing toward a future you can't yet see. Be intentional. Embrace the journey of getting to know someone without rushing to define what it means. Remember, love that lasts isn't the one that's rushed, but the one that grows steadily, over time, like a tree taking root. When you cultivate patience in love, you're giving yourself the gift of a deeper, more meaningful connection that doesn't fade with the first storm. The message is clear. By choosing patience, You're allowing love to become something real, something you can trust, and something that will stand the test of time. Tip number 14. Friendship and mutual support. Friendship and mutual support are often the bedrock of relationships that stand the test of time, creating bonds that go beyond attraction and infatuation. Too often we focus on the surface-level excitement of romance, overlooking the quiet power of friendship as the true foundation for something lasting and meaningful. Real connections thrive on the feeling of being supported, understood, and appreciated, which is why building a friendship within any relationship can be so powerful. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, "One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood." This kind of connection doesn't rely on grand gestures but on the small, steady acts of showing up for each other, and in today's fast-paced world, where distractions are constant, the power of simply being there for someone is deeply refreshing. When you build a relationship on friendship, you're establishing a partnership where both people feel free to be themselves, without fear of judgment. Think about the best friendships you have. Aren't they the ones where you know you can show your true self, including your quirks and vulnerabilities? These are the relationships that grow and deepen because they're rooted in trust and mutual respect. In the context of romantic relationships, this friendship offers a foundation that can withstand the inevitable ups and downs. Rather than just leaning on the thrill of romance, you're creating a bond that's grounded in shared values, humor, and mutual support. Wouldn't you agree that relationships where both people feel supported and uplifted are more fulfilling and lasting? Building this kind of connection isn't about doing anything extravagant. It's about small, consistent actions that let the other person know they matter. Show interest in their day, ask questions, share in their struggles, and celebrate their successes. These seemingly simple acts create a sense of partnership that fuels connection. Modern relationships can sometimes feel rushed, like everyone is racing to reach the next milestone. But taking the time to develop friendship within your relationship allows you both to grow together, rather than rushing forward without solid ground. Epictetus once taught, "We are not disturbed by things but by the view which we take of them." When you and your partner have a foundation of friendship, you're more likely to handle challenges with patience and resilience, seeing each other's perspectives without taking things personally. In practical terms, mutual support means genuinely caring for each other's well-being. It's about being someone they can lean on when times get tough, providing encouragement and constructive feedback when needed, and creating a safe space for them to be who they are. You might be surprised at how far a few words of kindness or a simple act of thoughtfulness can go. Ask yourself, are you creating the kind of connection that fosters genuine closeness? Or are you just skimming the surface? This question can help you gauge whether you're building a friendship that supports the long-term health of the relationship. The beauty of a friendship-based relationship is that it isn't dependent on constant excitement or validation. It's resilient, able to adapt to life's changes, and strengthens with time. When both people know they have each other's backs, they can approach the relationship with less fear and more openness. So the next time you're in a moment of decision, whether it's a choice to listen or offer support, remember that these small actions are what deepen your connection. In a world that often celebrates grand gestures, let's not forget that true love is often built on the quiet, steady foundation of friendship and mutual support. It's these elements that will create a connection that isn't just passionate but enduring, one where both people feel truly seen, valued, and understood. To wrap up, the principles we've explored in this video are grounded in timeless wisdom and practical psychology, providing a powerful framework for creating deeper, more meaningful connections. By prioritizing authentic moments, fostering emotional independence, and embracing a patient approach to love, you set yourself on a path to relationships built on respect, trust, and mutual growth. As you apply these ideas in your daily life, remember, true attraction comes not from playing games or forcing connection, but from becoming someone worth longing for by embodying qualities like kindness, confidence, and resilience. What are some of the ways you plan to apply these insights? Let us know in the comments, and if this video resonated with you, share it with someone who might benefit from these ideas. Don't forget to subscribe to Stoic in Your Life for more content that blends Stoic wisdom with practical advice. Thank you for joining us, and here's to building relationships that are both fulfilling and enduring.